Hi, it's Karen, the Weekend Craftaholic, and today I wanted to talk all things December daily. Now this video is sectioned off, so I have put some notes below in the description, whether you wanted to stick around for the flip through or look at the setup of foundation pages or even some of the filler pages I've got. So I've sectioned it off because it is likely to be quite a long video. But I will start first of all with the flip through. This is my finished book. This is ready to go for December. This is the acrylic album and I'm absolutely loving it now that I've got some pages in there as well. You can see it's already probably an inch thick and I haven't even got photographs in yet. But I am loving this blue and silver theme. Chose because of our decorations are that colour, and I just wish there was more in this style because I think it's very classy. So I've used some thickers here. Don't know if you can tell or not, but I've stitched them down. I love stitching thickers. You always know they're going to go through without an issue, and it just makes sure they're going to last a long time as well. These are just some embellishments from Kaisercraft, and I've just stuck some confetti snowflakes down as well. So this is my title page. Moving on to the first couple of pages, as you can see the stitching from behind. I'm not too worried about that though, because each of these pages is going to be a little mini layout in itself. So I'm going to cover that with a photograph. I'll also use some of the other paper just to do quite a big border, and this is probably going to be my kind of intention page, for want of a better word. I've got my Christmas wishes on this side. I did want to say Christmas wishes, but I ran out of E's in this sticker set, so I've just got a Christmas wish, and each of us would normally write down some details on the back. I've only got 3 this year because my daughter's already in England, but she's coming back in the middle of December, which I'm really pleased about. So, but the start of December, I'm just going to do myself, my husband and my son will fill those in. And here is, as I mentioned, where I'll put a photograph and also some journaling or intention for the month as well, for Christmas. So that's kind of my intro pages, and then this is where I get onto the real foundation pages. So I have already added some of this little, I love this white pom-pom, can't get enough of this. I've got it in practically every colour I think, and I've just done it 3 times throughout, so it's not too crammed up, but it's a good thickness for the album. And what I've done for my numbers, because say there wasn't really a good set, I've made this chain of numbers. So I've just used my punch to punch out a 1-inch circle, and then again I've used the Kaisercraft, let me get them for you, this Kaisercraft number sticker sheet, and I absolutely love these as well. They do these in black, white, all colours, and you get a full month's worth here as well. I've still got the big ones of course. So I've just chain stitched them so I don't lose them. They're nicely in order. And what I did, I went through the book and just worked out whether I needed a dark piece or light piece depending on the colour of the paper. So as each day goes, once I decide where it's going to go, then I can cut it off and include it as part of the layout. But until I know whether it's going to be a huge picture, lots of little pictures, I'm not sure where the number's going to go. But I've worked through all of those, and I've only done a couple of filler pages, and as I said, there is a video at the back if you wanted to see how I've done one. This one went a little bit wrong, so I've not included the video. My stitching, I completely forgot about leaving a bigger margin for the hole punch. So it did go a little bit skew-iff, which is why I covered it up with this blue and silver glitter tape, because it goes a little bit crazy. But what I've done here, I've just stitched in a couple of the die cut pieces from the cutter part sheet, added some of these little star sequins, and then stitched it again on this acetate piece and just did a scallop edge on that. So it does look kind of cute, not as ideal as I'd liked it, but it definitely looks homemade, which is what it is. And you can see again with me using these reinforced holes as well, it's just tying both pages in. The other die cut, the one where there's a little video at the end, if you want to fast forward, I'll put notes in the description box, is just making this little tree just on acetate, again as a filler page. I probably will do more filler pages, but for now this is more than enough for me, because I really don't know how thick this is going to be. This is another little one that I've done. And I've just realised I've not put my reinforced holes on this one. Just again with one of the sheets from the pattern paper, and these little embellishments are from the Kaisercraft set that I got. I did also realise that I put my paper the wrong way, so not a complete disaster. I'll just make sure I back it with a full page layout. It might be a full-size photo, I don't know yet. For Christmas Day and Boxing Day, I have actually assumed I'm going to do a double spread. So I've allowed 2 pages for those days and just one side for the other days. And that is my album. I do still have some pockets though. This 6x8 size. These are slightly bigger. These are 7x8 sizes. But again, I can use those pockets if I've got extra photos to add in through the days. What I'm going to do in terms of embellishment, if just get that out the way. I've got my little box here set up ready to go. So I've got lots of ribbons, my snowflake punch. I've got some of these little signs from Woolworths, would you believe? Fabrics as well, some organzas, and I managed to get some blue gems as well. Oops. As you can see, I did get these as well from a local scrapbook store. I'm not sure. I will probably try and colour over the green, and then that way I've just got blue and silver. So that's another project to work on. But I've just basically put together some bits to keep me going, so it's quick on the day. So lots of little sequins, ribbons. I've got my blue and silver things like my liquid pearls and my perfect pearls. And I did also make these little tags as well. I'm not sure what day they're going to go on, but obviously as I do the layouts, that's when I'll introduce a lot more stamping elements. I made a little kind of shaker pocket on this one that I just stitched around. Some small ones that I'll probably just use at the bottom. And yes, just some of them are ribbons, some not. So we'll see how we go with that. Also made this little pocket. This was from the centre of the reinforced punches. And just to make sure you couldn't see through, I just put that effect on both sides with those as well. So wait and see, I'm not sure whereabouts that will go, but I will definitely aim to make more of these in the coming weeks. I don't know if you can see this or not. This is acrylic dividers with some rose gold ring clips as well. Now I got this from this stamp spot. I'll put the link down below. I absolutely love the products that Michelle sells. This is the paper pad that I'm going to use for my foundation pages this year, and I've been looking all over for some nice blue double-sided Christmas paper, because we actually have blue decorations in our house, very light blue to match the decor of the house, and I've been looking all over for a pad. Now the only thing that I realised after I bought this is that it did not come with any matching. It's not like a collection, so there isn't any ephemera to go with it, stickers, die cuts and things. So I'm going to be making as much of my own embellishments as I can, die cuts and so on. So you can see here there are some cut apart sheets within this pack, which I will trim down as well. And to start off with, I'm just using one sheet of every kind of double-sided pattern at the moment, so I think this gives me about 12. There is 36 sheets in the pack in total. But I'm just going to start with one from each, and then what I'm going to do is just cut that down. Now the album I actually thought was a 6x8, but it's slightly bigger. I think it's a 9x8, I want to say, but I'm going to cut these pieces of paper down an 8x7, and that way I've got a nice little border with inside the album covers themselves. So I'm going to start off with cutting those down. Now some of these sheets do have, like I say, this has got cut apart sheets in them, and it was only when I started cutting them down I realised quite naturally a lot of the comments are talking about winter, because obviously you do associate Christmas with winter, but being in the southern hemisphere here, it's actually the middle of our summer, so some of these I won't actually use because it is talking about the cold weather winter stuff, but the rest of them I definitely will. But I'm going to use up some of these paper sheets anyway and make my own gift tags, use my die cuts, that kind of thing, to make my own embellishments for this. And I do have some stuff in my stash as well. I did go out and buy as much blue themed stuff as I could, so I got some new perfect pearls. I managed to get some confetti snowflakes in blue and silver, so blue and silver is really the theme that I'm going for. Now some of these pattern papers have got some direction in them, some have got words and sentiments, others are flowers and things, so I am being mindful when I trim these down to make sure that when they are in the album the pattern or the words are facing the right direction as well. Having double-sided paper is really going to help reduce some of the bulk, and also makes it a lot easier with these foundation pages. I'm just going to make sure when I put them in the album that I'm mixing up the colour, so I've not got anything too similar next to each other. Now I've gone ahead and punched holes in these, as you can see, just to match where they will be in the binder covers, and now I'm just putting them in the order that I want to make sure they're all mixed up nicely. What I'm also going to do though, I've got a We Are Memory Keepers a ring enforcer, so I'm also going to use that and cut out lots of little circles and ring enforcers from the pattern paper as well. Now you might think I've gone slightly mad spending all this time hole punching these, but what I wanted to share with you before I forget, is that all of the centres of these reinforced holes give you lots of little circles and dots. And because this is double-sided paper, that means I can also use this in a shaker pocket or as confetti. So you can see how many I'm getting there. So none of that will go to waste. Okay, so I just wanted to do the last few of these pages with you and just to talk you through my process. As you can see on these, I've just used some contrasting colours on these pages, and what I'm really aiming to do is try and match up that side as much as possible, while at the same time making sure that these reinforcements stand out. And so I'm just showing you now what I'm doing is having them side by side so I know how they will look in the album. So this is blue, so I've put blue on that side. This side's more white, so I'm going to copy those across. I'm not trying to match the papers exactly because that would just be a complete nightmare, it would be impossible. And you can see here this is a very messy job. I am full of glue. Now I'm using liquid glue just because it's a bit more versatile with positioning. I can wiggle it around till I get it in the right spot. And my plan, what I usually do throughout December, because I don't craft every day in December, what I usually do is use OneNote on my iPhone and then just make all my journaling notes on that. Obviously I've got my photos as well that I'll do. I'll print those off at the end of each week, and I'll just kind of put them in loose order with some post-its with the dates on as well. I'm not going to stick anything else on these foundation pages at all because I don't know what the picture's going to be like on those days, so I don't know where I'm going to position them, but I really like the idea of using this larger size because it's going to mean I can still print 6 by 4 photographs or even 5 by 7 and still have room for my journaling as well. So I'm really liking the idea of using that. So this gives you a bit of an idea for your December daily. If you've not done it before, I really would encourage you to have a go at it. It's a lot of fun. Unfortunately, a lot of people do feel pressured with it. It is a lot of crafting throughout the time. And it can feel pressurising and a bit overwhelming when you've got a big stack of photos still to craft. That's why I don't do Project Life every week. It's just be too much for me to keep on top of. But December is obviously a very special month, so it's worth making the effort from my perspective during that time. Now for one of my filler pages, I did get an idea off Pinterest of making a Christmas tree with lots of different pattern papers. So this is roughly the size that I want it. So I am just going to randomly draw some lines here. So what is this? This is 5.5. So where is my centre? Probably about here. Would you say it's here? So I'm going to mark some lines just roughly from the centre of that to the bottom corner, just to give me that triangular traditional Christmas tree shape. And then I'm just going to cut that out. Doesn't have to be exact. Okay, so that is my rough Christmas tree shape. Now what I want to do is use ripped pieces in layers. So I've just got to make sure again I've got some contrasting colours here. And then obviously I want to make sure I'm using a good pattern as well for that. So let's use the gold to start us off. I'll trim these down later. And I'm just going to put this section of the video on fast forward so you can see the effect that I do without it taking up too much time. Okay, so now I've given that some time to dry. I'm just going to go again over these lines I've made earlier. And that's a little Christmas tree effect. So I'm going to put that on some acetate so that it's kind of suspended in the album. Okay, so what I've done, I've just stitched it around the tree itself, and you can see I've put some of those little blue gems on that I bought as well, and I should probably have moved them a little bit further out the way, so the stitching's gone a bit crazy. And then on the back, what I've done, I've just put some glitter, some stars, some sequins in there, and just for the back. And then with having the stitching around the tree, that's just contained it quite well inside of that. These bits were just the ones that had escaped before, but I think they look quite nice as they are just on that. So you can see that's what it's going to look like. So the next filler care that I'm going to do is a really super quick one, and I know a lot of people do something similar in theirs as well. So I'm just going to keep a bit of packaging. This is from a gin bottle that I've bought, and it was purely by chance that the colour scheme matched the album. If it didn't, I probably would have just created a little pocket to put it in. But anyway, it works perfect. It's actually gorgeous packaging, and I'm going to keep the rest of this that I left over that I cut out anyway for another project. But what I'm doing here is just sizing it out to make sure it's going to fit the size of the album, and then just trimming it down as well just to make sure that fits. I'm not going to do anything too fancy with it other than just really getting it to the size I want, and just making sure that I keep parts of the images on that packaging as well, which is really the text and the label. And I'm just going to use one of the existing foundation pages there just to measure it out, and then that's going to be my guide just for punching the holes through as well, just to make sure I do get it centered. I'm not going to do anything really with this packaging other than stick it in the album. Not sure whereabouts it's going to be until we're into December itself. I guess it depends when we open the bottle and start to enjoy it. And I'm not too worried about the back side of it as well, because it's just the inside of that packaging at this stage. What I'll do is probably wait until near the time, the day that we use it, and then maybe just put a photo and some journaling on the back. Now I don't have a die big enough to cut a curve from this, so I'm just using some of these thicker alignments that I've got. I think they're a great way to use these as well. I did originally use a yellow Sharpie. I thought it might have been a fluoro colour to stand out, but it wasn't, so obviously just using a contrasting colour here with the white just as my guide to cut that out. It is pretty thick packaging, I have to say, and you can see it's probably unfortunate that I ripped the back of that as well and left that white bit, or else I could have just left it as is, but no fear, I will wait until I come to use that within my album, and then I'll just back it with some pattern paper as well. So I'm just trimming it down to size now. I want it a little bit small, I don't want it sticking out the edge. That's not to say some of my pages won't stick over the top, definitely not from the bottom, because I will end up having some embellishments along the top, some ribbons and so on. But I'm liking how that looks, and that's a very quick and easy page to do. So the next one I want to show you, and two of these filler pages actually are very similar designs. Both of them involve stenciling. This first one involves Nouveau the Glimmer Paste, sorry, and I'll put the links below because I can't remember the name of it at the top of my head now. It's the only one that I've got, but it is quite a versatile colour because, as you can see, it just gives you that sparkly, glittery effect. Now I'm just putting this on, going in one direction just to make sure I'm not smearing the glittery bits of this. It is very thick paste, and it's also quite sticky as well, like jam. And I'm applying it to this sheet of acetate that I'd already aligned up with my stencil on my little makeout station here. And I'd already also just punched my holes as well and got my placements right. What I should have done is done this top part of the stencil first, the Merry Christmas, just so I didn't have to worry about being too fiddly and knocking the trees below. But you can see here just how easy it goes on. I'm loving these new Nouveau spatulas as well, I have to say. Being left-handed is always a bit of a trick for me to get a good spatula and being able to spread it on right, but these work really, really well. So I'm just being very careful to make sure I take that off without smudging it, and then I'm just going to leave that to dry. Now because it is acetate, the trees are going to look great from the other side, and once that's dry I'm just going to put something else along the back where the Merry Christmas is now in reverse, so that will hide that as well once I come to it. The second effect I'm going to do is still with stencils, but this time I'm using this deco foil paste. Now this is obviously if you want to do some foiling, you can use this paste. Once it's dried clear, you put your foiling over and then put it through your laminator. But I love the effect of just leaving it as is. It will dry clear, so you know when it's dry, but just before it does dry, I'm going to be you'll see that I do shake some glitter on it as well, just to get that glittery effect on these stars. So this isn't an acetate piece, this is actually an old pocket folder, I guess, a little some stationery that I add, and I wanted to use it because it's a different texture from acetate. It's not as clear, it is a bit thicker, and it does give that kind of opaque effect. And you can see here I'm just mixing some glitter, some different thicknesses, a mix of silver and white glitter on that as well. And when that dries, like I say, it gives you a really nice effect. And these are two very easy filler cards that I've done that I don't need to worry too much about bringing the blue in. This is a way of me bringing in that silver and white effect as well to my album. And you can see that in the reverse as well. So I'm really pleased with those. Not sure where they'll go in the album yet. All my filler pages are just going to go at the back until I know when I'm going to use them. Now this last one I want to show you is just going to be with little pockets to hold any souvenirs, probably going to be Christmas cards. We don't get an awful lot of Christmas cards here, so the idea here is I'm just going to make another little page and then I'm just going to eyeball it really. It ends up being about 5" by 7 the pocket when I've done, and I'm going to create two of those pockets, one for the front of this card and one for the back. And if I do get any cards that won't fit in, that's not a problem. I'll just hole punch them as well and leave them near the filler card itself. But like I said, we don't get too many of them, and the chances are they will end up fitting in this pocket. Now I have stitched this on my sewing machine just to make sure it's nice and sturdy, and you can see I've got a couple of pockets there that I can use. And I'm just going to test it now. I'm in the middle of making Christmas cards anyway. This is one that's halfway done, and you can see it fits a 4x6 quite easily, so I should be able to get good 6 or 8 cards in this pocket, and that's usually as many as I receive. And again, they'll probably stick at the back of the album until it's time to take the Christmas cards down and save them. I enjoyed sharing my December daily plans with you, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. Thank you very much.